The small town of Pine Hollow had always been shrouded in mystery. Surrounded by thick forests and craggy mountains, it was a place where whispers of strange occurrences never seemed to fade. Among the tales of the town, none were more chilling than the legend of the Wolf Man. It was said that decades ago, a man named Victor Blackwood had made a pact with dark forces to save his dying wife. The ritual went horribly wrong, leaving him cursed to transform into a wolf-like beast under the full moon. For years, people claimed to hear his haunting howls in the dead of night and see glowing eyes watching them from the forest. As time passed, the legend turned into a campfire story, dismissed as folklore. But deep down, the town knew something was out there. 23-year-old Ethan Hayes, a skeptic and journalist, decided to investigate the story. Fresh out of college, he believed the Wolf Man was nothing more than a tale spun to keep children from wandering into the woods at night. Armed with his camera, a flashlight, and a notebook, Ethan ventured into Pine Hollow one foggy evening, determined to uncover the truth. He began his journey by interviewing the locals. Many were hesitant to speak, their faces pale at the mention of the Wolf Man. However, an elderly man named Samuel finally shared his story. "I saw him once," Samuel whispered, his hands trembling. "It was 20 years ago. I was hunting near the old Blackwood estate. The moon was full and the air was heavy, like a storm was coming. I saw something. It wasn't a wolf and it wasn't a man. It stood on two legs, its eyes glowing like fire. I ran for my life. Don't go looking for him, boy. Some things are better left alone." Ethan dismissed the warnings as superstitious ramblings. That night, armed with his equipment, he headed into the woods. The moon was full, casting an eerie glow over the landscape. The forest was unnervingly silent, save for the crunch of leaves beneath his boots. Hours passed without incident. Just as Ethan was about to turn back, he heard it, a low growl that sent a shiver down his spine. He froze, gripping his flashlight tightly. The growl turned into a deafening roar, and before he could react, something charged at him from the shadows. It was enormous, its fur matted and black as midnight. Its claws glistened in the moonlight, and its fiery eyes locked onto Ethan. He stumbled backward, snapping photos frantically as the creature lunged. Ethan barely managed to dive behind a tree, the beast's claws narrowly missing him. His heart pounded as he fumbled for the silver dagger Samuel had insisted he take, a relic said to be the Wolf Man's only weakness. The creature circled him, its growls vibrating through the air. With trembling hands, Ethan waited for the right moment. The beast lunged again, and with every ounce of courage he had, Ethan plunged the dagger into its chest. The Wolf Man let out a piercing howl, its body convulsing as it collapsed. To Ethan's horror, the beast began to transform. Its fur receded, and its monstrous features softened into that of a man, Victor Blackwood. "Thank you," Victor whispered, a tear sliding down his face before his body went still. Ethan returned to Pine Hollow, shaken and forever changed. He published his story, but no one believed him. The legend of the Wolf Man lived on, but Ethan knew the truth. Even now, as he lay in bed, he couldn't shake the feeling that fiery eyes still watched him from the darkness.